Hey guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell, which, as expected, I loved this book. It's a YA contemporary, and you guys know that I love Rainbow Rowell's books. Everyone so far that I've read, I've loved absolutely. So this was another really good one, and I'm really glad I read it. It's about two kind of misfit 16-year-olds called Eleanor and Park who meet on the bus on the way to school, and obviously a love story kind of develops from there, but it's also so much more than a love story. There's a lot of family stuff that's dealt with, as well as, you know, the issues about not really fitting in. A lot of bullying and that kind of stuff is dealt with too. Firstly, I want to say that the romance, even though it's obviously very important to the story, it was kind of almost secondary for everything else that was going on. But in saying that, all of the elements of the romance in this were amazing and made me like melt over it. You know, it was really good. This is also interestingly set in the 80s, and I think it's quite possibly one of the only books that I've ever read set in the 80s, so I liked that, and it was very interesting. There were lots of references to music and that kind of thing from that period, and just the fact that it kind of changes the way that a relationship would form in high school, because you don't have texting or messaging or anything like that, and then the whole bullying thing is dealt with in like a very in-person kind of way, as opposed to like on social media and stuff like that. So that was interesting. And yeah, mostly just seeing how two teenagers communicate with each other if they can't like text or something. I think it kind of makes it more genuine in a way, so I really liked that. And like I said, there was a lot of family kind of issues that were dealt with in this book, and it gave me really strong Jacqueline Wilson vibes. I think if you like Jacqueline Wilson's books, you will love this one. It's kind of very different in a way from the other Rainbow Rowell books that I've read, because some of the issues that it dealt with were really quite serious, but it was still an easy read. And I feel like that's what Jacqueline Wilson usually sort of nails with her books, is like a lot of the girls in her stories are dealing with like crazy, realistic, but also really hard life situations, and this book kind of covers that sort of thing in the same sort of vibe. So I really liked that about it, so I definitely think if you like Jacqueline Wilson, you'll probably love this one by Rainbow Rowell. It was interesting as well, the contrast between Eleanor's family and Park's family, and I think both of them like had their problems. And yeah, I wouldn't say I necessarily related to either Eleanor or Park, but they were likable characters in their own way, even though they were imperfect characters, I guess. As expected, the writing in this was beautiful. I love how Rainbow Rowell writes. There's just so many times when she describes something that just gets you right in the feels, and she kind of describes things in a really relatable way, as in emotions and things like that, and the way that these two characters felt about each other and stuff. She just writes it so beautifully, and so it's just so real. And I really like that about her writing. The only thing that I didn't like about this book was to do with the structure of it. So it's all written in third person, but it flits back and forth between being from Eleanor's perspective and being from Park's perspective. And that was good. I like that. That reminds me of Carry On. She did that, except I think some of Carry On was in first person, whereas these were in third person. But it was still good to see it from both points of view. I think this story needed that, because Eleanor and Park both had such different things going on in their lives that you needed to see it from both of their points of view. But the only thing I found confusing about that was it's hard to explain, because it's something that a lot of other books do really well, and I just felt like for some reason it didn't work well in this book. When a character, even though it's in third person, the character's thinking back on memories kind of thing and thinking about something that happened yesterday whilst they're, you know, describing what they're doing right now at the same time. And at times it just got a little bit confusing. I think because it was all in past tense, it was hard to distinguish between what was going on today and what they were talking about had happened previously at times, and that is really hard to explain, but maybe if you've read this you noticed it as well, I don't know. But yeah, so that was a little confusing at times, but aside from that, I totally love this, and I didn't even knock a point off for that, because it was such a minuscule thing that only happened a couple of times where I was like, wait, you know, it felt like it was jumping around a little bit between the past and the present, because the present was written in past tense. I don't know. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. I read this last week, so you might have already seen my review on Goodreads. My Goodreads and Instagram and everything will be linked down below as usual, but if you've read this, let me know what you think of it, and if you're going to read it, let me know that as well. Like I said, I totally recommend it, especially if you're a Jacqueline Wilson fan, because this has some of the same vibes. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in a couple of days with my next one. Bye.